Good morning. Today is Friday. I think it's April 3rd. I don't know about you, but the days are kind of blurring into one. I thought I would talk about eye shape today and why I choose to do eyeshadow a certain way, either on myself or on a client. So sometimes I do what's called kind of like the traditional smoky eye, which is, you know, the lighter color here and the darker color on the outside. And then sometimes I do what's called the saturated smoky eye, which is with the dark all the way on the lid and then getting lighter as it goes up, which I love that one. It looks really dramatic if you want it to, but it's also super quick, which is great. So it looks like it would be more complicated, but it's really not. So I did take the liberty of doing my complexion today. I'm all done. I did kind of minimal skincare this morning. I'll run through that really quickly. Yesterday I had I'm going through a round of treatments at my dermatologist to help get rid of some, you know, yucky spots on my face that could potentially be precancerous. So I had a type of peel yesterday. So all of my skincare today was just hydrating. So I did the Skin Food Peach Sake Toner, the Skin Food Peach Sake Emulsion, the Lancome Energy de V, which these are all ones I normally use. And then I used my new Lash Eyelash Growth Serum. Let's see, my It Cosmetics, the Bye Bye Under Eye, which I've almost done with my second. I had 2 jars for some reason going simultaneously. Don't really know how that happened, but I'm just finishing. I finished the first and the second one will be done in like a day or so. So I'm tempted to just wipe it all over my chest and be done with it and move on to something new and exciting. And then my moisturizer was one of my favorites again, the Sheer Transformation from Ulla Henriksen. I'll try to be good and post links below. These are a lot of these are products that I've used on my clients, so they're probably not things you haven't heard of before. But if you haven't, check out the links just to read about the product if you want to see, because I like them, but I don't really know a ton about them. So I kind of read it and then forgot it, and all that kind of good stuff. So that's my skincare today. My makeup was the Guerlain Meteorites Primer, the one that I have been using in conjunction, kind of mixing up with the Kevin Aucoin. So I use this one today. Again, this one is almost done, so I'm enjoying using that up. Because I did the treatment on my face, even though I'm not really seeing the sun, I wanted to make sure I had my SPF on. So I did my NARS Tinted Moisturizer because it's SPF 30 and it's tinted moisturizer. So again, it's hydrating to the face. I used my little Lime Life concealer, which is like that little guy right there. That's my concealer. I did the Besame Lavender eye setting. Well, it's actually just a translucent setting powder, a brightening setting powder, and I use it under my eyes. I use my Guerlain Meteorites powder over. I did under the powder, I used, of course, my Chanel Teint de Soleil, Soleil Teint de Chanel cream bronzer underneath. I did do the Lime Life bronzer #1, which is this one, and I can't remember the name of this one, but I'll try to find the name and post it. Just kind of a bright blush. I feel like I want something a little bit brighter today. And then I didn't do any highlighter because the peel I did yesterday makes the top layer of the skin peel. So the top layer is very dry, which means it's very crinkly looking. And I don't know if I want to highlight that today because, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. So at the moment I have no highlighter on, but you know me, I'll probably change my mind. My eyebrows are the MAC Corduroy eyeshadow, and then I used the Anastasia Tinted Brow Gel. I thought it was chocolate, but it's actually an auburn, which is probably too red, but I should probably get chocolate. And then my lips are this old NARS lip gloss. It's funny, it's so orange. but it is not orange on my lip. I keep putting on think it's gonna be orange and it's not, it's pink. This color is something I might not be able to read without my glasses because I'm that freaking old now. Nebulous, maybe? I honestly have no idea. Yeah, nebulous. Shit. Okay, so there's gonna be a few of those in there. Been trying to be really good and not cuss, but anyone that knows me, I do. So I apologize for that. But when it comes to my eyes recently, having to move everything back to read it, that's just the word that comes to mind. So I really apologize. There's no ill intent, but to know me is to love me. So hopefully. Okay, so let's talk about eyes. I wanted to talk about why I do eyes a certain way. So there are, like I said, two different ways of doing the eyeshadow. When you think of contouring, whatever you put a dark color on looks further back or looks smaller. You talk about perspective, painting, contouring your cheeks, your chin, anything like that. So anything if you wear a dark color, you look and feel smaller. So that makes sense. So if you have, kind of big eyes, large eyes, if your eyes are kind of, they use the word protruding, but I don't know if I really like that word. But if you have bold eyes, and if they kind of come out a little further, then you want to use that saturated Smokey, which is the dark color all over the lid. Honestly, you can do whatever you want because makeup, I always say there's rules, but break them all. But we're talking about in case of like what is considered flattering or why you would choose that. So if you have kind of a large eye, if you put a white shadow on it or a light colored shadow, it of course is going to make it look bigger. So like if you, highlight something, if you wear a white t-shirt, you obviously look and feel bigger in a picture or, just in life. So that's the theory behind contouring. It's the same with the eye. So if you have deeper set eyes or smaller eyes, you want to use a lighter eyeshadow because it will open your eyes, make your eyes look more forward, and just kind of brighten them up. So I don't know about you, but with me, the older I get, I feel like my eyes look smaller. Sometimes I just don't care, and I love that dramatic kind of saturated smoky. It's also, like I said, easier and faster. There's less blending and technique involved, to be quite honest. But, do whatever you want. But this is why I kind of choose how to do someone's eye makeup sometimes. But I just wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit. So now the way you gauge the depth of your eye, if you have deep set, normal, or protruding eyes, I'm not gonna turn sideways because I really don't care for my profile, but I will just tell you, looking at your eyes, this way, if your eyes are deeper than your brow bone, like your ocular bone, so if your eyes are deeper set than your ocular bone, then you have deep set eyes. So what would be most flattering, most eye-opening would be a lighter color on the eyelid. Throw glitter on it, shimmer, whatever you want, but that would be more flattering. So I have kind of normal depth, which means they're around where even to my ocular bone. So that means I can kind of do either one depending. A brown saturated smoky will definitely be more flattering sometimes than a black smoky because the black will, of course, close my eye. But I'll do it sometimes. And then if you have protruding eyes, your eye comes out a little bit further than the ocular bone. So if you look sideways, that's how you would know that what would be considered most flattering would be a darker color on the lid. So the great thing about the protruding eye is you can do that super smoky lining, the waterline, tight lining, like kind of go all in like Katy Perry does. Like you can get that really fun dramatic smoky eye that someone with a deeper set eye struggles with. So the color blurs, it makes her eyes extremely small looking. It's just not as flattering. So protruding eyes really do have that benefit. The deeper set eyes, they benefit from being able to really just kind of slap some glitter or shimmer on their lid and being done with it. So whatever color you want, a lighter color, a darker color if you want, but that will just kind of open the eye up and be such a dramatic difference that with, 14 coats of mascara, and you're done with your eyelids. So that's kind of cool. There really is no bad, there really isn't. There is no bad eye shape. It's just learning how to work with what's flattering for your shape. That's it. There are different, kind of your eyes are almond shaped. There's upturn, there's downturn. So if you have any questions about that, you can always ask below or message me. If we're friends, just text me and I can help you with that. But that's just how I choose what eye shape I'm gonna do, or how I do an eye shape. So I'm just gonna do my eyes right now. Today I'm gonna use the Kat Von D Saint and Sinner palette. It's from a couple Christmases ago, I believe. There's a lot of fun colors. There's a green, so I'm a sucker. If there's one shade of green, even though I probably have it, I'll spend $70 on the stupid palette. Not anymore. But anyway, so I do love Kat Von D. Her palettes are always, not always, but usually blend really beautifully. The fun thing about this palette is it looks insane when you look at all the colors individually. But what I look for really are those mattes, like the ones on the inside that I can create my crease with. And then all the other colors that everyone's like, I don't know what to do with, that's just your lid color, baby. So that's your fun color, opens your eye up. If you have smaller eyes or deep set eyes, that's your moneymaker. So that's your color that is gonna just pop everything. So let's see. There is a skin colored shade in here for me called Amen. So it's a little more yellow tone. So I'm gonna start with that and just cover my lid. Sorry, cover my crease. All right, so maybe it's not exactly skin color, but that's all right. So I will also talk up today about shimmers and mattes and glitter eyeshadows. So a shimmer color can go anywhere on the lid, from either lash line to brow bone. However, anything that is shimmery will kind of highlight any crepiness or looseness to the skin, so it may not be as flattering on this part of the eye. You can totally do it, but if we're talking about what is flattering and what isn't, if you want to play, maybe in the next couple days if you have some time, do an eye where you have shimmer here, and then do one where you have matte, and see the difference in what it looks like. So I only do matte colors, especially on me here. I may take a little bit of the shimmer and kind of bring it up, but my eyelids are getting, or my creases are getting pretty tissuey. I think probably because I've worn eyeshadow my whole life, and I probably went at my skin like a crazy person when I was younger and didn't know better. So I will only put matte eyeshadows here and up. Matte eyeshadow can go anywhere on the eye, of course, because it's going to be the least reflective and the most complementary on a mature eye. Glitter only goes on the lid. for the same reason, if shimmer accentuates texture, glitter is gonna be like a bullhorn on your eyeball, which you probably don't want in that way. So keep the glitter here, and everything will be great. And glitter is totally day appropriate. So that's all I have to say about that. I'm gonna move on to a brown crease color as normal. Now I have a very large crease area here from my dramatic overplucking in the 90s. So I have to start my color up here. Otherwise, I mean, look at that. I look like someone just scared me, you know, terrified all the time. So I need to kind of bring that down a little bit and start that illusion of contour higher up on my lid. All right, so let's do this side. Dark brown. So I need to learn to stop raising my eyebrow because I blend and blend, and then I remember to drop my eyebrow, and then I can't see my eyeshadow. So I need to remember to blend my eyeshadow without raising my eyebrows. So see, even just that alone kind of opens my eye up a little bit more. It forces that lower part of my crease back visually, so it opens my eye. Something like that. I really want to make sure when I finally remember to relax my stupid eyebrows that I have a nice round application of my crease color. See how I have that nice kind of just halo there of color? That's what I'm looking for, because if I open my eyes and I just have a slant of color, that slant of color is not going to open my eye. Everything should be circular, right? So I really want to make sure that when I relax my brow, I see that color all the way around my eyelid. See, I still have to relax my brow. There we go. So that's the reason for the going back and forth. I'm going to start with the saturated Smokey, which means I'm now going to go in with a darker shade, which that's very smoky. I think I'm gonna actually go with black and see what happens with the black today. See what that does. I need to hold a mirror. Black eyeshadow is like doing red lipstick. I always have to like get ready for it. Now black is a very intense color. And it usually doesn't matter. I don't know if it's the size of the particles in the black eyeshadow, but black in particular tends to be very messy. So I'm using very little bit at a time because I've already done my face, and really pressing it onto that lid so that I don't have all the mess or fallout. And that's why I'm also leaning forward a little bit in hopes that it falls onto my mirror or my compact instead of my cheeks. So just a little bit at a time. Blend. I'm actually using my eyeball as my guide for where to put my eyeshadow on my lid. I can feel where my eyeball is. Blend it up. I'm gonna quickly do the other side. Black smoky eye. So my rule that I love for smoking out an eye is whatever color you put above the eye goes below the eye in much smaller quantities. So I'm going to start with the little shader brush, which is this guy, very small. And I'm going to use that first color under my eye. Flat, so I get a nice wide banding of color. And the reason why I want the wide banding of color is because I want something for the other colors to blend into. And this I'm taking down, I can feel it kind of underneath my eyeball. So I'm kind of using my actual eye as my guide for my eyeshadow. I'm gonna go in with that darker color, which is that smoky color, which actually looked much more brown in the palette. Now I'm gonna turn the brush sideways and use it like that to lay down a slightly thinner layer of color. Kind of intensify the lash line. Blend. Like that. Other side. I could do the black eyeshadow around the lash line, but instead I'm just going to use my mascara as that black color underneath. So I'm going to start with the lower lash with my Clinique Bottom Lash Mascara. So if I had more of a protruding eye shape, I would do the black all the way along the lash line. But because mine are kind of average in depth, kind of half and half in the middle, I'm not going to do that intense black. But also because I'm gonna bump it up and change the lid too, so yeah. I will do my mascara very quickly. I'll get on that. There we go. I love this mascara. Leave that for now. That's a smoky eye. This is all matte. So a fun way to use the shimmers, like all these kind of fun, crazy colors, the blue, the orange, silver, and all that kind of good stuff, is you can just take your finger, kind of rub it on, and just kind of put it in the center of the eyelid. So I'm going to, I'm not going to use my finger only because everyone's been sanitizing so much. My hands are very dry. So I'm going to use a brush today instead. But normally I would literally take my finger and do that. I am going to use the Relic color, which is that really yellowy color. I feel like it would be fun. And I'm just going to go up the center of my eye. Like that. It kind of gives that illusion of being perfectly lit, you know. Again, I'm going to blend and kind of soften the line on either side. Like that. And look at the difference between opening this eye up and then this eye still looking a little more closed. And especially placing it right over the iris really brings the focus to your eyeballs. So that's fun. And a lot of times I end up starting like this, but then I need that flash of color, so I end up doing that. So this is one way of bumping it up. Say you did your makeup earlier in the day and you did it with, you know, browns, and now you're going out. Remember when we used to do that? And then you get home and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go meet my girlfriends and blah, 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 blah. Yay. So pop the color on your lid. And you've changed your look completely. So yeah, now I'm going to add my final coat of mascara, which for me is They're Real from Benefit. I like this as my final one because it gives that perfect separation, and it's also extremely black. The bristles are very firm, so it separates and coats all my lashes nicely. I can especially fan out my outside lashes nicely, and then make sure I've got all the little babies on the inside. Really get those outside lashes. Like that. I think for fun, I'll put some of that yellow on the inside corner of my eyes as well. So especially right now when we're not going anywhere, have fun, play, experiment, find new things you love. Like that. My eyes today, the Saint and Sinner palette from Kat Von D. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to do another little quickie video with the new Stila Magic Duos, I think they're called, and how to bump up this eye even more. But I'm loving this the way it is. I don't know about you, but it looks maybe a little green. I don't know, maybe that's just wishful thinking. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today, and let's make up tomorrow.